Okay, it's rap pack to my pulse flat. We keep it real, no false rap. I got 4 cars and they all black. Got 4 bras and they all that. We call that ballin'. Doing this is my calling. Flow is so appalling. My phone off and she calling. I'm like, yeah.
Okay. What's going on, internet? And welcome back to Nth-Level Entertainment, the #1 geek culture related YouTube channel in South Africa. I am your host, Zweletu Mahlangu, aka Z the Entertainer. And today I'm going to be doing episode 5 of my MCU recap review challenge. Today we're going to be reviewing Captain America, the first Avenger. Now, this movie basically tells the story of Steve Rogers. Those who read the comic books will know that Steve Rogers is the name of Captain America, his civilian identity, before he was actually enrolled into the US military to fight Nazis in World War II. So basically this follows the story of Steve Rogers, who is actually a very frail, sickly young man who's very small in stature and prone to various diseases. According to the interview that he had on one of his enlistment interviews, he spoke of his father who died of mustard gas, and his mother who I think took a mortar bomb while working in the medical centers of one of these military installations and couldn't shake it, as he puts it. We all know that meant, well, she kicked the big one. So anyway, his father's aversion to mustard gas actually suggests some sort of genetic hereditary weakness that they have towards certain things like mustard gas. I would think that it's an asthma-related disease. So anyway, he's been trying over and over to actually get himself enlisted into the military to go and fight in the war because he wants to make his contribution for his country, and he's constantly failing in these attempts, and eventually he is noticed by Dr. Earthguile. I forget his last name. It might come back to me during the course of the review. Played by Stanley Tucci, who actually realizes his potential as far as his good intentions as being a soldier who wants to fight for his country, as opposed to just have an excuse to maim, murder, and kill with a gun and a license. So he basically enrolls him in the super soldier program, which transforms him from the frail, sickly young boy that he is to the muscle-bound, super agile, peak human physicality Captain America. And we see this, and then he eventually becomes an actual captain. He leads his own squadron in the war. He starts off as a morale booster identity for the war, in that he stars in movies that are titled Captain America that depict how US soldiers are winning the war against Hitler. These movies are also propaganda for people to help raise funds for arms dealing and things like that, to buy weaponry and stuff like that for the US military. Eventually the situation becomes real when his best friend Bucky Barnes gets kidnapped by the Nazis and experimented on. As we all know, through those experiments he eventually becomes the Winter Soldier. But this becomes a very much a more personal stake in the war effort for Steve Rogers. And he actually goes in and leads a rescue mission, not only for Bucky, but for hundreds of other soldiers that were actually captured along with him. And that's how he actually starts his real superhero career as Captain America. And we were also introduced to the Red Skull in this movie, who basically heads up Hydra in this time period during World War II. Which started off as a rogue Nazi research division of the Nazis. Wow, I'm doing a lot of tautology today. But anyway, so basically the Red Skull, Johann Schmidt, as the Americans say it, is the Red Skull and the leader of Hydra at this time. He is eventually defeated by Captain America when he tries to release a nuclear bomb on American shores. In the very end, which also forces Captain America to sacrifice his own life and be frozen in ice while actually trying to drown the plane carrying the bomb in, I think it's the Pacific Ocean, on its frozen shores. And that's where the movie leaves us. Now, watching this movie again was pretty cool. Again, a nostalgic experience because I'm going all the way back to Phase 1 in the MCU. It was nice to see how everything was being put together through all these standalone movies. And Captain America actually does a very nice job in tying things up, in that we now see that, you know, it's as it's a standalone film, but within a film series, it's actually leading up to the conclusion of what Iron Man 1 brought about in that first movie. Even in its title, it suggested that, you know, it's called Captain America the First Avenger. So anyone who doesn't know what the Avengers are gonna wonder, what do they mean, First Avenger? You know, what are the Avengers? And in a post-credit scene at the very end of the movie, we actually see a trailer for the Avengers movie featuring all the characters that you've seen in the standalone movies up to now. We also see Nick Fury in a post-credit scene, which is actually a scene that takes place in the Avengers movie when he comes and recruits him for the current mission in that movie. So it was a great movie. It showed the character's origin story quite well. I believe this version of this origin story was taken from the Marvel Ultimates run of comic book stories. The Marvel Ultimates also have animated movies based on that line of comic books. There's the Ultimate Avengers 1 and 2 that came out in 2003 and 2004 respectively, if I'm not mistaken. So it shows that character development of Steve Rogers from being the frail boy who just wants to help out to being Captain America, the world's greatest, the greatest hero the world has ever known, as far as the Marvel Comics universe is concerned. And we also see him deal with, you know, obviously the social abnormalities that come with being the type of person that he is. He's not good at talking to girls. He's got this best friend who's always believed in him and stood up for him when bullies would come and try and take advantage of him. And he actually grows into his leadership role through mainly his courage and sheer force of will. But he also learns other things along the way about what it is to actually be a soldier, to actually lead a unit. He also deals with loss early on when the German doctor who actually created the super soldier serum is killed right in front of him just after he completes his transformation. He also deals with loss in the form of Bucky seemingly dying towards the third act of the film. And, you know, he also deals with a lot of resistance from the military official played by Tommy Lee Jones, who thoroughly entertained me. I love the fact that he was basically playing the typical persona that he plays in movies like The Fugitive, for example, where he's just this Southern general who's walking around with a stern face and a sturdy demeanor, barking orders at everybody and not giving a shit what they think about it. So that was pretty cool. I love Tommy Lee Jones's performance in the movie. You know, we also see him actually putting his money where his mouth is as far as the concept of sacrifice is concerned. You know, like back when they were training before he undergoes his transformation with the super soldier serum, someone throws a fake grenade onto the ground and he actually dives on top of it to try and save everyone else around him, which basically showed the potential that he has in his heart to actually, you know, make the sacrifice play, as he later on says in the Avengers, which I only just now realized that line was a foreshadowing to what he's going to say later on to Tony Stark. But yeah, it was a great film. It was a great lead up to what we're going to now be seeing in the Avengers. It also has one of the Infinity Stones in it, although we didn't know them to be that at the time, which is the Tesseract, also known as the Space Gem, that Nick Fury and Howard Stark actually fish out at the very end of the movie from the ocean. So again, a nice little Easter egg that ties everything together, because we saw the Tesseract being spoken about at the very end of Thor, which was the previous movie in the series. So in Thor, they found it at the bottom of the ocean, according to Nick Fury's conversation with Dr. Eric Selvig, and we see them actually find it at the bottom of the ocean at the end of this movie, Captain America First Avenger. So yeah, it was a great film. It still holds up as far as I'm concerned. Captain America Winter Soldier is by far a better movie in a lot of ways, but having watched this one again, it was a great movie in its own right as well. it was a suitable first movie in the trilogy of Captain America movies that we have now. So as far as ratings go, I would give this movie a 7 out of 10. Captain America Shields, simply because, you know, okay, it was labored by the fact that it was an origin story, so we couldn't go too deep into what Captain America's potential is as a superhero. We couldn't have as big action set pieces as we do in the later films, because he's still discovering what it means to be who he is now that he is Captain America, and he's still discovering what abilities his new circumstance comes with, now having been imbued with the powers of the super soldier serum. So based on the fact that it wasn't as big a movie as it could be, as we later see in the two following movies, is the only reason why I give it a lower rating than I would maybe a movie like Ready Player One, for example, that I gave a 10 out of 10. But nonetheless, it was a very satisfying comic book superhero film. It had good story, great acting from everyone involved. I love Neil McDonough's performance as one of Captain America's task force, the Howling Commandos, as they were known in the comics. Great entertainment all the way around. I give it a 7 out of 10, Captain America Shields. So post your comments down below. Let me know what you thought of this movie. If you like this review, please click on the thumbs up icon and give us a like. If you'd like to see more from Nth-Level Entertainment, please subscribe and be sure to click the bell icon so that you are notified every time I drop new content on the channel. Otherwise, until then, guys, thank you for watching. Stay awesome, take care of each other, to infinity and beyond.
Hey guys, thanks a lot. If you want to see some more from us, click here or click here.